Today we are starting a new chapter, metals. So before directly going to that chapter, I would like to give you a brief introduction. Earlier times, what happened was that man used his own labor, manual labor, to plow the fields, to do his works, to do everything. He was using much of his manual labor. But after the discovery of some metals like iron, aluminium, etc., they reduced the manual labor. That discovery reduced the manual labor, and the discovery of these metals actually led to most of the revolutionary changes in the history of mankind. If I ask you to name some of the important metals, you would give me a lot of examples like zinc, iron, aluminium, copper, gold, silver, platinum, etc. Isn't it? And I know much better that you can name most other metals other than the zinc, iron, aluminium, copper, gold, silver and platinum. There are much more metals which you can name. So in this chapter we are going to study about the different characteristics of metals, different properties of metals. So if I ask you about the property of gold, gold is a metal which is much familiar to you. So if I ask you about gold, you will say that it is used for making jewelry, isn't it? Very beautiful chains, bangles, earrings, etc. And what about silver? Silver is also a metal which is used for making jewelry, isn't it? And some silver metals and silver solutions are also there. You have studied about silver bromide, silver nitrate, etc. So basically when someone asks you about silver, the first thing that comes to your mind is jewelry. But there are silver utensils also, isn't it? Now, platinum is specifically used for making jewelry, but there are platinum rods, electrodes. We are using platinum electrodes in the electrolysis experiments. Then when we go to copper, in our homes, we are using copper wires, isn't it? When you are able to find someone doing this connections in your house, current connections in your house, you can finally see that this copper wire, fine copper wires are used in giving us this current connections and all. Other than that, in earlier times we have copper bottomed vessels, isn't it? At home we used to have copper bottomed vessels also. And what about aluminium? Aluminium is another. Aluminium is a metal which is used for making aluminium sheets. Now most of the houses we have the upper floor is completely with aluminium sheets, isn't it? The same aluminium metal we are used for making aluminium foil, isn't it? You know how soft and how smooth and thin is that aluminium foil. And the same aluminium we are using for making this current connections outside outside our house, not inside. I am telling about this current connections which is going on to our outside our house in the electric post and all. So when you talk about different metals, we can understand that different metals are having different uses. If they are commonly metals, why they are used for making different uses? Like one example I can tell you, aluminium. Aluminium is a metal which we are used in making a very thin aluminium foil, very thin sheet of aluminium foil. The same aluminium we are used for making aluminium sheets. The same metal we are used for making this current connection, giving current connection in the electric post. Isn't it? Then, what about gold? Gold is a metal, it's an expensive metal. The same metal we are used for making bangles, thin bangles and thicker bangles, thin chains and thicker, big long chains, big earrings, small earrings, isn't it? So there are some properties which makes these metals different. So today we are going to study about one such property. That property of a metal is, there are different properties. The first property is malleability. Okay, malleability. So malleability means that property of the metal by which we can beat them into thin sheets. Okay, the property by which the metals can be beaten into thin sheets is known as malleability. So there are different metals which has this property. Gold has this property. Then aluminium has this property. That is why we are able to make aluminium into aluminium sheets and aluminium foils. Gold can be drawn into sheets of when we are using this long chains and all. So among all the metals, gold is the most malleable metal. So the first property of a metal is malleability. And what do you mean by malleability? The property by which the metal can be beaten into thin sheets is known as malleability. So today we are only dealing with one property of the metal. Thank you.
Malleability. Place any one metal on a block of iron and strike it 4 or 5 times with a hammer. Observe the changes in the shape of the metal. You will find that some metals can be beaten into thin sheets. This property is called malleability. Gold and silver are the most malleable metals.
Metals are malleable. In this module, you will learn that metals are malleable. For this activity, we need a small iron nail, a piece of coal, a pencil lead, a piece of thick aluminium wire and a hammer. To start with, beat the iron nail with a hammer. Hit the nail hard. You have to do it carefully. Take care so that your hands do not get hurt. Now hit the aluminium wire hard. This time also take care of your hand. What do you see? Is there any change in the shape of nail and wire? You can see that the shape of the iron nail and the aluminium wire changed on beating. When they are beaten harder, the iron nail and the aluminium wire take the shape of thin sheets or they are flattened. Now hit hard the gold piece and pencil lead with the hammer. Interestingly, you will find that gold pieces and pencil lead break into small pieces on beating. It is the property of the metals that they take the shape of a thin sheet on being hammered. This property of the metals is known as malleability. This is a characteristic property of metals. As you saw in the experiment, materials like coal and pencil lead do not show this property as they are not metals. In this module, you have learnt that metals form thin sheets on hammering. The property of metals by which they can be beaten to form the flattened or thin sheets is called malleability.